If Orioles fans weren't sure exactly what to expect out of the veteran right-hander, neither was he.
I had already dealt with a lot of failure. I'd already dealt with a lot of challenges, physical, mental, emotional. I think I've been able to weather a lot, and at 41 years old, I don't really know what those expectations should even look like.
Morton holds the distinction of being the last former Richmond Brave that is still active with any team at any level of the game. But he almost had to give up that distinction earlier this year when the beginning of his season did not start out like he and the Orioles had envisioned.
It was very disappointing, and I was crying because I couldn't play no more.
Grace missed the first 6 games of the season rehabbing her injury and came back as soon as she was able. Her example made a big impact on her teammates. So much so, one of them made an on-the-field sacrifice so she could make history.
We had a breakaway play, and one of our running backs fell right there at the 5-yard line. Clear, he could have went for a touchdown. I was like, what are you doing? And they're all yelling, put Grace in, put Grace in. So we stopped, called timeout. I said, Grace, you're up. It's your turn.
Grace is in the game. Who got her?
The play is called 24 ISO, one Grace has run hundreds of times in practice. When it counted for real, she didn't miss. Dozens of girls had played football in Virginia before her, but none has ever scored a touchdown. Grace Reza made VHSL history in her first game back. The Royals are expecting an all-star caliber year out of their first baseman, who gets a significant part of his support from his hometown.
It's super special being from the 804. My bat model used to be called the 804, the P804. It's still in circulation. I just use a different bat now. So yeah, it's super special to me, and couldn't be more proud of where I'm from and those roots there.
Pasquantino still maintains his ties with his 804 roots, but did you know he also has a connection with us here at CBS 6, one that he contends helped jumpstart his pro career.
Vinny Pasquantino, the James River High School.
Pasquantino played rec league basketball as a freshman in high school, with a young head coach modeling his style after a bombastic Hall of Famer.
Do you want to have a losing season, or do you want to finish this thing out strong?
It helped prepare Pasquantino for what was to come in the big leagues.
I don't think I'm here today without John Burkett, just teaching that intensity.
I want 5 guys to raise their hand that want to play basketball today.
Eldridge shares an odd distinction with former Braves standout Andruw Jones in that each of them were only in Richmond about 2 weeks as they rose to the major leagues. Jones is a borderline Hall of Fame player, while Eldridge is still looking to make his mark with the Giants organization at the big league level. In Scottsdale, Arizona, Lane Casadante, CBS 6 Sports.
CBS 6 Sports, sponsored by Toyota.
Good evening from Washington, D.C., where the VCU Rams got their A-10 tournament underway this afternoon against St. Bonaventure. This was the first time VCU has played in a week since a regular season finale loss to Dayton at the Siegel Center last week, and they made sure that losing streak would end at 1.
Patterson currently has about a dozen kids who come regularly to his cramped space and less than regulation range. Patterson's commute is convenient.
All right, what are we waiting for?
But there's a bigger reason for his smaller scale.
We don't charge his kids a dime. And so if I was to go out and find gym space, I'd have to focus on bringing clients in, making money. And that takes away from the kids. And if I'm focused on that, we're not building champions like we're building right now, taking these kids off. And some of these kids can't pay. They don't have the ability to, their parents don't. And we bring them in and give them an environment where sometimes they're going home and going right to sleep, and they're not in doing silly stuff out there.
JMU's only loss this year was to a Power 4 team on the road at Louisville, but Oregon's only loss this year was at home to an Indiana team coached by Curt Cignetti, the former JMU boss, who had a little bit to do with the Duke's roster that the Ducks will face this Saturday night. From Bridgeforth Stadium in Harrisonburg, Lane Casadante, CBS 6 Sports.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Week 11 of Final Score Friday. Sean and I joined tonight by the Jaguars from Glen Allen High, who had a chance to cement their playoff standings in their regular season finale. And the playoffs are set tonight. We're going to do our best to let you know where everybody is seated as we go through the show. But our game of the week had no such concerns for each team, who were both squarely inside their respective regional rankings.
Both Manchester and Huguenot were not only in our top 5, but they were assured of at least one more game beyond tonight. Each did have something to play for. The Lancers, an undefeated season and a first-round playoff bye. The Falcons were trying to get a home game next week. Huguenot snapped a 16-game losing streak last year against the Lancers and was searching back-to-back wins over Manchester since the 96-2000 years. Second quarter of a scoreless game, Randall Robinson up the middle for a 10-yard touchdown. Huguenot with a 7-0 lead. Later in the second, Cartier Canaday up the middle and is gone 44 yards to the house. Huguenot increases their lead to 14-0. Still in the second, more from Huguenot. Charles Scott Jr. would find Montre Thompson over the middle. He fights his way into the end zone to take a 21-0 lead at the break. Fourth quarter, same score, and as Scott connects with Avion Lewis in stride, 28-yard touchdown. Huguenot led 27-0. Manchester would avoid the shutout late in the fourth quarter, but Huguenot hands them their first loss of the year, 27-7 the final.
I feel like we got the best defense in the state. I feel like they took another step tonight in proving that. And my guys took a lot of stuff personal this week. Everybody was saying we was the same, and we are not the same. And that's what we wanted to prove tonight, that we are not the same.
Big statement from the Falcons tonight. Back north of the river, 6th-ranked Highland Springs on the road at Hanover. Hawks had not beaten the Springers since 2011, while the Springers hadn't had 4 regular season losses since 2008. Second quarter, Springers up 3-0. Eric Bird, 39 yards to pay dirt. First touchdown of the game gives Highland Springs a 10-0 lead. Hanover, though, deep in their own end. Sam Rogers calls the fake punt, and they connect on it for the first down. That would set up later the swing pass out to Joel Nicholson, who finds Jonathan Gilmartin behind the defense. 33 yards on the touchdown, 10-6. Springers led at the half. Third quarter, Hanover goes to the air again. Nicholson again, 37 yards this time to Lane Zyglock. And the Hawks have a 12-10 lead. Springers would answer with an Antoine Richardson 4-yard touchdown run. This went back and forth all night. The Springers outlast the Hawks 30-27 on a late 99-yard kickoff return.